And we are live. Welcome back to the Sports Stories preview of the third ODI between India and England. Usually, this is the timing of our cricket daily, and it would be interesting to see how it pans out for India against England tomorrow. Obviously, the decider, India obviously won the first game. The second game was won by England quite comprehensively, we must say, and it makes up for a very spicy third one-day international. I have Sid with me as usual. We will be joined by Nathan and Kushagra pretty soon as well. Sid, coming to you first. Obviously, before Nathan comes in, we'll talk a little bit about the Indian point of view as well. But just a little brief, coming from what we had a discussion yesterday, that what are the things that Indian team could actually look forward to in this game, because there were a lot of things that were actually good for India in the last game. Apart from, obviously with the ball, the things that were probably meant to be improved were, as we were talking a few minutes back, that we don't get wickets in the first 20 overs. That is something we definitely have to improve on. But what about the things that we can actually carry forward in the next one?
I think in terms of carrying forward KL Rahul's confidence, I think it should only be building from here because
Yeah,
he's had two absolutely perfect innings. That's needed to have that kind of a confidence boost. As I don't remember someone during yesterday or day before yesterday's live. I think it was Siddharth yesterday who said that
yeah,
if the ODIs would have been played before the T20s, we wouldn't have been having any problem in KL Rahul opening in that T20 lineup. So I think that's something that we have to carry forward. Secondly, I feel Prasidh Krishna's emergence as a good bowler, as an excellent death bowler, is something that was a positive in the last game. I mean, it was in terms of bowling. I think there's not much positive that we could have, which we could carry forward from the previous game. This is certainly
yeah.
one thing. Uh, and I finally I feel we are. I think we should be seeing beginnings from Rohit Sharma, considering he plays. I think he will because
He will play. Yeah,
despite giving all of us a mega heart attack in that second game, with, due to which primarily I want him to just take one game off, despite it being.
yeah.
I think we have Shubman Gill and Surya Kumar Yadav who can fill in those shoes decently. But if Rohit plays, I think a big knock from him is needed. And finally, I think we can end the power play on a better note if that happens, and then
Yeah.
carry forward the momentum. Because let's be frank now, I think there's no point in keeping any hope on Kohli winning the toss and India bowling first. So
वो पंद्रह
yeah,
पंद्रह
these
मिनट हटा देना जिंदगी में से, like just don't keep them at all. Like you just ask Joss Butler what he wants to do.
हाँ आई मीन ठीक है 15 मिनट हटा लो कुछ भी हटा लो लेट्स जस्ट wear our pads and take the challenge as it is gonna come because
Yeah.
कुछ there's not going to be much of a change in the pitch वैसे ही वो flat रहने वाला है ठीक है I hope we one thing is during the batting I hope we don't end up treating Moeen Ali like Muthiah Muralidharan again and give him too much respect than what he deserves
Yeah.
and come out with that intent because it's not like we can't pose a significantly high total in the first inning itself. What we saw in the last game was a master class from an excellent top class world class batsman, or rather two
Yeah.
of them. But
Yes.
I bet not every day is going to be that kind of a day, and I hope certainly tomorrow is not that kind of a day.
Exactly. And I mean, Moeen Ali is not even as scary looking when he's bowling as Mutaya Muralidharan. So I mean, we should not probably even consider that. Varun is in the comments. आज Saturday live वो yes Varun आज Saturday live इसलिए है क्योंकि इंडिया कल खेल रही है. We wanted to do a preview. It will be a short live, not the usual 1.5 घंटा sessions. So I think that will be interesting. Me and Sid are talking from exact opposite rooms today. Interestingly. Uh, Pawan says, "Hi guys, hi Pawan. Amit is back in the comments. Apart from individual brilliance of Rohit or Kohli coming in the forefront, we won't win the match. Well, everyone thinks strategy of consolidating up top and exploding at the end is going to work. We need to get going from the get go. Yes, I think if you look at the way modern cricket's played these days, you shouldn't be too scared. We saw it in Australia when Australia went from the get go and scored around 370, 380 in almost the first two ODIs. That was interesting. And having said that, we just talked about a scary Moeen Ali and all about England. Nathan's here. Welcome back, mate. I hope you're doing well at home. You seem very relaxed, and there is obvious reasons. Yesterday, you joined the live from the hospital itself. Such happiness upon the fact that Englishmen batted so well, especially Ben Stokes and Bairstow.
Livingston.
Lot of good things. Livingston, yes, Livingston hitting two couple of sixes as well. So, I mean, what are your initial thoughts when you go into this game? You talked about 3-0 to India right before the game. Are you changing that now to 2-1 England?
Well, I'm not going to keep you 3-0 3-0 India anymore, am I? No, I'll be honest, it was quite a big surprise, especially when Roy and Bairstow only got 110. I thought, here we go again. Because I got to watch, because of my what happened at the hospital was delayed. I actually got to watch the match. And my surgery was like 10 minutes after the game finished, so that was perfect. And I just thought how it was incredible. I did panic a bit when Josh Butler got out, but my main man, I did warn you about him. Comes and delivers the goods. Quite good how he did it off Boovy, though. That's the best bit of it. I'd have expected off your lesser bowlers, but how he hit your best bowler for 2 sixes, that was impressive for me, as well as his number one fan. Quite interested. Tomorrow, I'm 50-50. It could go either way.
Yeah.
So you're sitting on the fences, Nathan. That's not fair. I mean, that's not something that we expect of you.
No, my apologies, actually. It's 60-40 England because we lost the first game.
That's better now, Nathan. I think that's something that we are very used to. We'll talk about a few points, obviously, from both the English and the Indian aspect. Coming first to the Indian part of it, I'm just hearing an echo. Okay, now it's fine, I guess. So yeah, coming to the Indian point of view, I think said we talked about this that I think Rohit Sharma, if he is fit, obviously he will play. There's no doubt about it. But we do expect a big innings from him. And the thing that we have been seeing from England, thing that we have been hearing from the likes of obviously Michael Vaughan has been very upfront in the way he said that, but also Indian players as well. I think even Murli Karthik and Ajit Agarkar said this in the commentary last game. We saw Nasser Hussain, one of the most brilliant minds in cricket that has been. He also talked about the fact that India need to have a little more aggressiveness towards the start of the innings, which is probably the difference between the 320, 330 that we are scoring now to a 350, 360 that we could be scoring because we have that potential. Do you see that this change could happen with the kind of batting lineup we have now? Is this more of a mentality shift that is needed, or is this something that India just going to be in that same phase where they want to consolidate? Because in the World Cup, you won't expect such flat pitches anyway.
Yeah, I think if there was any lack of clarity, I don't think we have to exactly copy the way England has done it, but
Yeah,
there's definitely quite some firepower, in that opening pair. I bet I know Shikhar is rather more of an anchor right now, but Rohit Sharma can definitely be as explosive as any batsman in the world. Uh,
yeah.
I don't agree with the fact that he needs those 50 deliveries to settle. I think he can start knocking them off in 15 or 20 deliveries as well. He has that kind of a capability. Uh, I think there has to be a change in approach more than anything, because I don't see any immediate crisis kind of shifts needed in that opening order. I mean, I know we've been talking about KL Rahul playing there, but there's no way tomorrow he plays in any other role. I mean, I won't
Yeah.
say a number five, but I think he's made his place in the middle order right now. So Rohit Sharma hasn't been in bad form, by the way. We are the way he got out last match. I think it was set up really well. The strategy from England there was really good, and that's why I think I could sense a big knock coming in from Rohit. And if you want to get going from the ball one, there's not many better players in the world than him.
Fair enough. I mean, it's more or less obvious that India are going to bat first. Which is why we are assuming that they are, because the tosses winning and Virat Kohli is something that usually does not happen. As I was just about to come to Nathan upon the English bowling. Nathan's connection has got a little bit of an issue. But yes, I think you're right. You look at Rohit Sharma. Obviously, he has the ability to change gears very quickly. And I think with Rohit previously, I guess when Rohit used to score those double hundreds in a more consistent basis, where around probably that 2015, 2014 to 2017, where Indian ODI team was really doing well. One of Rohit's USP was he didn't take much time to settle in, and then he got going quickly as well. And even if it was 100 of 120 or 130, Rohit had the ability to make it 160, 170 of 150 balls. That is what Rohit Sharma has in his locker. So even if there is a deficit of around 10, 15, or 20 balls, Rohit Sharma is more than capable of making it up. Same is the case with KL Rahul.
Yeah, see, it's not about. See, the problem is you are leaving those 10, 15, or 20 deliveries till the 35th over.
Yeah,
After that, there's only so much you can do to get to that 360, 370 kind of a score. My point is exactly what I said earlier. You need to stop treating Moin Ali like Muthia Muralidharan. Okay?
yeah,
Because he has not had any impressive numbers in the recent past, and
yeah,
so you don't have to give him that much respect. I get that Adil Rashid and Virat Kohli has had some problems with him, but
yeah,
there's no way you keep giving them 4 runs and over till the 35th over. You know, I think
yeah.
that acceleration can always come somewhere in the middle part as well, after the 10th, 15th, or 15th over, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Fair enough, I guess, because just the fact that we have so many batters in our team, that makes it so much easier for us to now accelerate quicker. Also, I think the phase which I was talking about, right, 2014 around to 2017, that was a phase when 300, 320 was a match-winning total at one point of time, and then India used to still score 350s. And probably you take that same template that you used back in the day to chase 350, 360s. I remember that one against Australia, where Virat came at number three and absolutely blasted a quick-fire 100. Even in that game, Shikhar strike it was not 100. It was less than 100. But I think it was Rohit who accelerated really well, and then it was Virat Kohli obviously scored some 50s, I think some 60, 70 ball 100 at that time, and it was a magnificent run chase. I guess at Jaipur, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, I think that is a template that Indian batsmen could look at. I'll just take a few comments while Nathan is going to join back, obviously. Nathan is good. Hope you're having a speedy recovery. Yes, Nathan has been very speedy with his recovery. He came in from just right after his surgery yesterday, so that's really good. And yes, obviously Nathan will be back. And here we go. Nathan is back, and Amit wishes you a speedy recovery, Nate. I think all of us do. Sai Gautam says, should Hardik bowl? Kohli was a bit cautious as he does not want him to get injured. Probably that's a very long drawn discussion that we'll
Definitely.
get to. I think he has to bowl, right? There's absolutely nothing that could keep him away. Nathan, what do you make of this? I mean, uh, Hardik Pandya bowling. Obviously, there has been a lot of question marks about why Hardik hasn't bowled in the first two ODIs, especially when he bowled in the T20s. Bowled decently in the fourth T20. I got a couple of wickets, 16 runs, and then Hardik not bowling. If we, from the English point of view, do you see this as a relief that Hardik's not bowling, or do you feel it's more about the other bowlers actually not able to, you are not able to target someone then in that case?
Well, no, it's a similar situation to Ben Stokes that you guys used to mention to me about him not bowling in the test. So
Yeah.
personally, it's a positive for England that he's not batting because sixth bowler, and that just adds that extra little bit of pressure to your bowlers when they're only five and have to bowl out. And I think that played a little bit on Kohli's head yesterday. So when Livingston and Milan were batting, he
Yeah.
should have put Boothby back on, but he's thinking, I can't go to Hardik if it goes a little bit further. So obviously put Pandya back on. But personally, I still think there's a couple of things in India's team that if they change it themselves, you could more than match England. So one of the things I think India should do is drop Dhawan and put Kishan. Is it Kishan? Kishan?
Yeah. Ishan Kishan, yeah.
Ishan Kishan, yeah.
Yeah, I think he should open with Rohit. And I think that changes the big dynamic. You shouldn't try and base yourself on the England style because there's not a better partnership than Roy or Bairstow. But if you put him in, and then you're probably going from about a 40 40 to 45 power play to probably more of a 60, which will set you back up for a 350, 360.
Yeah.
Which will give your bowlers something else to bowl at.
Yeah.
As it's pretty clear from Kohli's interviews after the toss that he wants to bat first. But if you're only defending 330 against England, and they only got so that's what my point was coming back to the bowlers. 330 and you only got 5 bowlers against England. There's a lot of pressure on because you won't keep us quiet. You either get us all out or we win the game. That's the 2 options in the whole situation. So especially when Boovy's come off, did you have 4 overs at the start yesterday? It was around the time I was going to the hospital that I lost contact. But if he didn't get in the first 4, that puts even more on.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we won the game.
I had a big early spell. Yeah.
That's where you need is your wicket, because you need wickets against us, or we will. It's a shame we didn't bat first. We probably got about 500 the way we were batting.
400 was definitely on the cards. Not sure about 5. And that would have been an absolute world record had he got there. But yeah, I mean, 400 was definitely on the cards. If you batted in the same way, obviously that you batted in the second innings. But just coming to that, I think Shikhar Dhawan, as you talked about him being replaced by Kishan, I think personally what I feel is that KL Rahul is better suited because KL can do multiple roles while opening the batting. Whereas Ishan Kishan, yet he isn't that multi-dimensional cricketer yet that KL Rahul is. So maybe in that sense, probably KL suits better. Also, Shikhar Dhawan recently in one-day international cricket has done a little bit, which is why dropping Shikhar all of a sudden would probably not be acceptable for the management. Maybe that is what they're thinking. Plus,
Sorry, I'll just counter your argument on that one. Do you remember in the Champions Trophy when we dropped Jason Roy?
Yeah.
Jason Roy helped Alex Hales set, and without Jason Roy, Alex Hales looked lost. And I'm just thinking, even if he fails or gets 30 off 20, at least he set you a bit of a platform for when your Kohli's, your Rahul comes in a bit later on. Just about a bit of a platform, almost a 2020 style opener that you need there just to get. You need to take full advantage of those 10 overs of 2 people out. And someone like him, he might not be able to bat the whole way through, but he will counter the first 10 overs. I think that's where India are missing the extra 30 runs. Is the 10 overs? Not. Yeah, I think you guys think it's more the middle, but for me, it's more the start.
Yeah. I mean, yes, power plays, Nathan, you talked about it in the T20 series as well, where India lost the 2 games. They lost it on the power play itself, where, we weren't able to score as many runs as, we should have ideally. Amit adds in the comments, if Hardik doesn't bowl, bench him. If you want another batsman, bring in Sky. If you want an all-rounder, bring in Washington. I mean, yes, but I don't think either Surya Kumar Yadav still has a fair bet, but then Washington Sundar doesn't still give you the kind of batting output that Hardik Pandya gives you. So I guess for that very reason, he comes into this team as a proper batsman. I think in Australia as well, Hardik showed that he is capable of taking this team as a proper batsman as well. I think we saw a glimpse of that back in 2017, but it was the Australia series that actually proved what Hardik is all about. Simple fix to what
just
you
a pinch hitter,
are doing, but
Hardik is not just a pinch hitter.
That's the biggest misconception that we got rid of. Yeah, in Australia, right? Said when he and Jadeja, I guess in the third ODI. I think he played well in the couple ODIs as well before that, but it was especially in the third ODI where we saw how well Hardik Pandya and Jadeja took that innings from 150 odd for something to more than 300, and in the last 15 overs itself.
Yeah,
I think that is how brilliant they are. I think we are missing Jadeja more than I think we all acknowledge in a way. Archer to undergo surgery on Monday is what Masoom's saying. All the best to Jofra. I hope he plays the IPL. I mean, Nathan has got a Rajasthan Royals top on, and it looks like Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer might miss out on the IPL, which would be absolutely disastrous for Rajasthan Royals.
Yeah, for
according
me,
to Sportstar.
Because other teams will have more English players in then.
You still have Liam Livingston, Nathan, at Rajasthan, so I mean.
Well, I'm just going to say though, just quickly back to your comment on JJ. I think you don't realise it because, back in 2017 when I went to the Ashes with England, we missed a Ben Stokes.
Yeah.
So they are the pinnacle, and they just change the balance of the team, and it makes everybody else's role a lot easier. So I think we do forget about what they do on both sides. Just think, oh, he's a decent bowler. He might not be number one, like with Bumrah and Boothie and whatever, but it still does that extra dimension to the actual team. And there's where you miss him.
Yeah.
You didn't miss him in Test because on them decks, I could have spun the ball.
Tell that to Dom Best, Nathan. I mean, fair enough. He got a few wickets in the first Test, but then apart from that, he was absolutely shambolic. So many full tosses, and then Boyin Ali came on and replaced him with more full tosses. How ironic. Array, such a big panel on the weekend. Yes, it is, Vipul. It is actually a big panel because usually there is zero in terms of panel because we don't have lives on the weekend. But I think since cricket is back, I think we had to make it a point to come back on the weekend as well.
There are big guys on
Third
the panel.
umpire can overrule. Third umpire can overrule on-field no ball call and short run call. 20th overs included 90 minutes. Earlier 20th over was to start on or before the 90th minute. Okay, I think he's talking about the T20 internationals or the T20 format in general. Varun says Nathan having pizza and some oranges to drink while recovering. Meanwhile, me eating khichdi and kada after recovering for a while. This is such an Indian joke to make, right? Like usually, Nathan, when we are recovering, we have something that is very. It's made of rice and it's usually very bland in taste. And we have a lot of herbs mixed into water, and we have a drink which is very hot. And people are talking about that against pizza and oranges drink while recovering. So this is totally a very UK thing to do, and what he's talking about is a very Indian thing to do. So just interesting how just I guess a few thousand miles and how differently people live and still follow the same passion for cricket, which is absolutely fantastic. Sai Gautam says Dhawan probably would not be dropped after his 98, which is, I guess, you and I feel the same, at least not in the next game. Report says Archer ruled out. Yes, I guess Archer's ruled out anyways, Shashank. That's a very unfortunate scenario for you and your Rajasthan Royals buddy here. Shashank also adds Mumbai leg of the IPL may be shifted according to reports. Yes, there have been questions on this as well, and I guess it should be considering the COVID situations in Mumbai. Coming back to England, Nathan, obviously we saw something that was very brilliant in a very unorthodox way. If you look at Reece Topley, because Topley didn't bowl the 140s, 150s that we expect of Mark Wood, but Topley bowled brilliantly with the new ball. He swung the ball. He had that extra bit of bounce because of his height. He bowled the right lines and lengths, and I guess that was really crucial. When you look at how Topley bowled at death as well, he maintained a little bit of variation. He got in that extra bounce. He hit you could say the shortest length where it was difficult for the batsman to get attack him. Considering that, do you still see Mark Wood replacing him, or do you see Mark Wood, if he's fit, replacing Sam Curran?
Mark Wood is fit. He was rested rather than injured yesterday because obviously he played four T20s and an ODI, so we don't want to break him. I see him coming in, but I think it'll be for Tom Curran because Sam Curran's a bit of an all-rounder at 8. And Tom Curran's been very expensive yesterday. I know he got 2 wickets, but I think it's for about 84. So I think the only change you'll see tomorrow is Wood for Tom Curran. I don't see us risking Billings because it'd be an absolutely ridiculous decision. Because his arm, it might only be a bruise, but it'll be a lot more fragile if he does anything to it again, and I'll put him out for a lot longer.
Exactly.
And the way the batters played yesterday, none of them deserve to be dropped, including my mate.
Yeah.
So the only change I can see is Wood coming in for Curran, unless there's injuries that they've not said.
Fair enough, I guess. You look at Mark Wood. Nathan, any chance for Parkinson to make it to the lineup instead of Adil Rashid?
Well, I was going to say Moeen Ali, but Moeen Ali went for only 47 runs. So it'd be a bit hard to drop him.
Yeah.
How did Adil finish? I can't remember how Adil finished yesterday.
Probably finished around 60 odd runs.
I think this was Moeen Ali's best bowling performance in a while. Conceding just at 4.7 per over is exceptional at this kind of a track.
It's not exceptional. It's just too much respect shown to Moeen Ali, I would rather say.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
they
taking
hit him
nothing
only for
against,
one boundary in the entire spell.
that's not his problem.
He's not had he's not had a wicket for like 60 overs in ODIs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't know why you
I
showed
saw
him
very
respect.
interesting figures yesterday. Nathan, I saw very interesting figures of I think Tom Curran yesterday. He has bowled around. I think he's given seven. I think some 412 runs, but has only taken one wicket in that phase. Bowled some 72 or 73 odd overs in that spell, which is incredible as figures, and that shows how much I think England want him to do well in a way because Tom Curran definitely has the ability. We have seen that. I think he was, to be honest, one of my top picks for Mumbai Indians as well in the auction. Obviously, Mumbai did not go for him, but apart from that, Tom Curran obviously has a lot of ability with the ball. He can hit with the bat as well, which is why it becomes even more critical for England that they actually work him out well. Probably, as I think Siddharth Gulati was talking about this a couple of days back, they're looking for a replacement of Liam Plunkett, which they haven't found yet. Probably they're
yeah,
looking about that in Tom Curran. And it would be interesting to see if they're able to find that replacement in Tom Curran because if Curran can get his bowling sorted, I think he makes it into the English team very, very fairly. And Adil Rashid went for 65 yesterday, Nathan. So I don't think he'll still be dropped because he gets a Virat Kohli dismissal almost every game, and might be too risky to risk Parkinson in a decider, I guess too.
The only thing is, I don't see the same. Like, if you look at Moeen Ali pre-Morgan and post-Morgan, sorry, not Moeen Ali,
Yeah.
Adil Rashid,
Yeah,
they're completely different. The spinners, and this is what England have got wrong so often. I think since Graham's won, only Adil's looked any good is when they've got the trust of the captain. And I don't see Morgan having the trust in Parkinson just yet. And I saw that in the T20s in New Zealand when he played. So I don't think he will be risked tomorrow. It's very unfortunate for the lad because he's been on tour since Sri Lanka. So he's not been part of the rotation policy. But he has got bright future.
Does the Butler being in charge for the game change it a little? Because Butler, as you said, probably knows him slightly better.
Possibly. It's just, again, I don't think Butler's got the same trust in Adil as Morgan does. Yeah. Because I think Morgan's got too much for Adil, to be honest. But that's not saying anything against Adil. That's just saying how much trust Morgan's got in him rather than the other way around. But I still don't think they'll risk it. If we were 2-0 down, I think we'd have risked Parkinson playing, but I can't see it at 1-1. But we can all hope.
Yeah. we can all definitely hope.
I hope he plays, but on the other hand, if say you bat first, get 350, and he's gone at 8 and over, he'll probably get a lot of flack. Yeah, it's only his first ODI, and they are playing the best leg spinners plays in their country. So even if he does play and doesn't do very well, I hope it doesn't take away from the actual ability that he has, and he doesn't sort of do a Kerrigan for the Lancashire sake. Never mind England, but just watch out for him in the next couple of years. You'll see he will take over from Adil. The only worry for me is if Adil shoulder goes for the World Cup, we're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah. I guess if you're talking about 23, Nathan, I feel it's more likely that maybe Parkinson might come into the fray. Others not getting any younger either. If he's able to maintain the fitness and the performances, obviously, I think it would be Adil Rashid. But I think after 23, there is definitely they are going to look at Parkinson as a next big thing in England spin, I guess. Talking about the spin department, India who was so brilliant with their spin bowling in the Test match cricket. Something about the white ball spin attack just doesn't threaten enough, Sid. We saw Krunal Pandya bowl some really
Can I ask you a question on this one?
Yeah, Nathan.
To you both. And this is one thing that I've been thinking about. Would you think taking out Hardik in this scenario, so say he doesn't bowl, wouldn't you be better being a 4-1 4 seamers, 1 spinner, or 3 seamers, 2 spinners still, after you've seen the last 2 ODIs?
If you're talking about Sid, do you want to go first?
No, yeah. So, are you talking about having six batsmen and five out and out bowlers?
Yeah, so if you keep the same format, well, you're going to have to, unless you're getting Hardick to bowl 10, and obviously then he'll take one of your spinners, seamers positions. But if you, say in Hardick Cop bowl, would you prefer a balance of 3-2 or 4-1 on the fact is you're going to keep the same balance as last time? Or do you think you're going to change the balance of the team?
I would rather, prefer to go with the same balance of having three seamers and two bowlers. I think, interestingly, just to pick on that point of being Shardul Thakur being the third seamer, I think Prathamesh mentioned a very interesting name, Liam Plunkett. I think Shardul should
Yeah,
aspire to be someone like Plunkett, because the kind of effectiveness Shardul has in the recent times, he's shown those glimpses of being a very effective middle overs bowler. You know,
yeah,
uh, which Plunkett was for a very long time for England, especially after the I think the 15 World Cup. I think
yeah,
up till the 19 World Cup, he had taken the most number of wickets there. I think, but the problem with that is you need to have two effective bowlers bowling at the top and in the death. You know, so that's where you can use Shardul Thakur in the middle phase. So right now I think that's why we are because I that's why I would rather want someone like Natarajan or a Siraj take that place of the third seamer, because we don't
yeah.
have that kind of an effectiveness in the initial overs, or in the death we are good with Prasidh and Bhuvneshwar, but I think we lack one more a bowler like Shami at the top to give Bhuvaneshwar that kind of combination. So, I would still go with the three seamers, but I think Shardul goes out, and I would prefer a Siraj to come in, because I think he has that kind of an edge in the first initial overs as compared to Natarajan.
And we have Atul back. Atul with his mask on as well. Atul, घर पे है. It's okay. You can remove your mask if you're at home.
I'm in the office.
Oh, Atul's in the office. Interesting. Atul, like good to have you back again. Obviously, it's interesting that we're talking about fast bowlers and you come up, which is almost
That's
like
always
written in
my
the
cue.
stars in
That's
a way.
always my cue, isn't it?
Absolutely, and we were talking about Liam Plunkett. Sid was mentioning about him as well. How probably they're looking at Tom Curran as the replacement for Liam Plunkett in many ways, and how Shardul can aspire to be India's version of Liam Plunkett. With the kind of effectiveness that Liam had,
Are
probably
we
Shardul can.
are we not going to talk about Pratmesh? Are we not going to talk about how Nathan looks like a Cookie Monster from the Sesame Street?
I haven't watched it, so I don't know. You guys are better judge of that. But
He does.
Nathan definitely looks fresher with his Lancashire Lightning hat on.
Well, I just did a year and I started eating my food whilst I was on live.
Yeah, so coming back to you, Atul. Obviously, the third seamer. Obviously, there's been a lot of questions about that in terms of the way Indians are bowling right now. Shardul has been up and down, but I think when he's been up, he's won new games within a span of an over or two. There are question marks again tomorrow that who plays along with Prasidh and Bhuvi. I think both of them have picked themselves in the way they've bowled in this series, and Bhuvi usually picks himself regardless. But who bowls along with him? Is it Shardul? Is it Mohammad Siraj? Who I think both me and Sid personally agree on because he's someone who can bowl really good with a new ball. Is it Natarajan? Because Natarajan can offer you some really good bowling at death where England probably haven't even got too much. But I think if they need to, Natarajan could be a viable option with a left arm bowler, and then he can bowl some good Yorkers as well.
Pratmesh, to be honest, we are being a bit harsh on Shardul if you think of it. He
Yeah,
performed really well before the last game. And in India, we know even if you do not perform in a single game, they throw you out of the team, or there are chances that there are fingers pointed at you. If you think of it, I
yeah,
think Shardul, Prasidh, and Bhuvi have been phenomenal for the team. It's okay if we didn't win the
yeah.
last one. I think because the spinners didn't contribute that well. So again, I think India should go with the three bowlers they were playing. India do not if they do want to change something, they can get in a different spinner other than Kuldeep. That's something they can do.
Yeah.
I think fast
Atul,
bowlers
that's
are
shocking. That's
pretty
coming
good
from
in
you.
what they were doing.
That's shocking coming from you, man.
See,
Drop Kuldeep.
we have to talk about something that's happening. So anyway, but I just joined to say hi to you guys, and I just made a single point. I think I'll leave for some work, but anyway, see you guys soon. But again, I don't want
Thank you
them
for
to
joining.
drop Shardul.
Yeah.
Okay, just for the
I
yeah.
mean,
So
not
bye.
dropping a fast bowler and Atul coming on the live. It was almost written in the stars in so many ways. Thank you, Atul, for joining again. Come to you, Sid, with this question. How spinners, obviously, a lot of talk about our spinners, right? How Krunal Pandya bowled some extraordinary deliveries like the Yorker and the bouncer, which which obviously a lot of it which he bowls in the IPL. But I think regardless, I guess Krunal Pandya again was on the shorter side. Kuldeep Yadav was on the shorter side, and I think both of them got absolutely smashed in the last game. If my stats are not wrong, I think both of them got hit for a combination of, I think, 8 and 6. That is 14 sixes. 14 out of 26s were hit to the both of them, which is absolutely shocking in so many ways. Sid, a lot of talk about probably Yuzvendra Chahal coming back into the lineup, which again means that you have Krunal Pandya who takes the ball away from the right hander, and Yuzvendra Chahal who obviously does the same. Do you think Washington comes in for Krunal because Washington doesn't give you the same effectivity with the bat again? If you're aspiring to change to 320 into 350, you need Krunal, but you probably essentially leak the same amount of runs anyway. So it's an interesting dilemma. What is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely bang on over there. Because Krunal, I don't think I trust him as an ODI bowler yet. I think he's a decent
Yeah,
fifth bowler option in the T20s, but in the ODI just does not offer enough. And I think his line, sorry, not his line, his length also is, and that wide or Yorker he tries, it's not going to be that effective in the ODI format. So yeah, I had a dilemma whether to go with six batsmen and have Kuldeep and Chahal back in the side. Maybe
yeah,
something, give them that one last go. Kulcha, what they've done. I know both of them are completely out of form, but always worth a try. But I agree. I think, but we can't be losing a seventh batsman. So I think Sundar is a much better replacement for Krunal.
yeah,
I know he hasn't. He can bat, but he does not give you the same kind of hitting
yeah,
that Krunal offers. But I think he's a much better bowling option any day. You know, and might
yeah,
just take that pressure of Kuldeep if Kuldeep plays, which also I think is highly unlikely. But he should be given this game, because man, I would just repeat this again. The way he was shouting while bowling in the last match with Pant telling him or Zor se dal or Zor se dal, it was just
yeah.
plainly
It was
sad to
it was
see.
heartbreaking.
It
It was
was sad to
absolutely
see,
heartbreaking.
So
Yeah,
probably for that amount of time he has spent out of the team, maybe you give him one more game. Uh,
yeah,
it would be extremely, extremely interesting to see what maybe a Chahar and Kuldeep or a Chahal and Kuldeep would offer to the spinning department.
yeah.
But I don't see us going without a seventh batsman. So it will be extremely tricky, but extremely interesting. But yeah, as you said, Sundar plays.
Fair enough. I guess said I'll just take a few comments and then we'll come to the final predictions in terms of lineups with you and Nathan. Obviously, Sai Gautam is back. Gautam is being very very vocal these days since KL Rahul started playing really well. One of our co-founders, obviously, the main difference between India and England is how they played spin. Keeping bowling aside, even while India were batting, India was very defensive in their approach against Ali and Rashid. Yes, I mean, just to Moin Ali, we played him like Muralidharan. That's how Sid defined it. I'm going to stick by it. We absolutely played him like Muralidharan. We've been doing that since 2014, I guess, and I don't know. I don't know what someone needs to do in order to change that approach to spinners. In place of Kronal, I think he's talking about Natarajan Shashank is what he's saying. I think he makes a fair case there. He talks about Nathan's combination of four pacers and one spinner, but I think it doesn't suit India, unfortunately, Shashank. But let's see if that happens. It'll be really interesting to see how Shardul bowls in that case because he's someone who's very adept with the cutters and those change of deliveries, and then he gets more room to experiment. It should be really interesting if that happens.
I,
India
I
should play
still
four
think.
quicks.
So just to add to that,
Yeah,
I still
Nathan.
think The guy who's not Pruvy, the other guy that opened the bowling. I can't think of his name.
Prasid Krishna.
I think you need to start saving him for more in the middle overs and to the end. I thought it was a lot better outside as the Liam Plunkett. I thought he was better in the Liam Plunkett role than opening the bowling. So with Navarajan coming in, could he open the bowling with Boothie and put him into the middle? That was my reason for going 4-1. That was my personal opinion. That might just be me.
Siraj then. Probably Siraj, because I think Siraj better suited as a new ball bowler anyway. And then I think it gives Prasid and obviously Bhuvi a chance to finish the overs at the death as well. There's been a Rajasthan Royals question by Shashank, obviously, who replaces Archer in the squad. Matt Henry, Liam Plunkett, Jason Behrendorff. He's also mentioned a few other names, Billy Stanlake, Udana, Cottrell, O'Shane, McLanigan, Sean Abbott, or Topley. Lot of names there, Nathan. Just one name that you would like to highlight amongst all of these who you think might replace Archer?
Plunkett or Topley. I'm not picky.
Basically, an Englishman to replace an Englishman. Fair enough, Nate.
I quite like McLanigan, but I've not seen him for a while, and that's something else. Like you're talking about Curran before, the ones that get the most wickets with changes of pace seem to die out quite quickly. It's like McLanigan, Faulkner
Mitchell
for Australia.
McLanigan is a Mumbai Indians legend. Let's put it that way.
But you don't hear about him as much as you did when he first came onto the scene. So you think about people like Faulkner for Australia, McLanigan. There's a couple others that were in my head earlier on, but they've gone out of my head. So that might be something that people need to work out is once you've got someone that changes the pace of their stock, unique selling point, how do they progress this changes of pace? Because there seems to be a bit of a dying breed at the moment. They'll come on the scene, look $1 million, and then look about $100.
But I think he adds it here. I don't think a left armer because Rajasthan Royals already has 5 left arm pacers. So I guess that would be one of the reasons. Maybe a Topley is not considered. And I think Liam Plunkett is an excellent choice again. I would have personally preferred Behrendorff. I've seen a lot of Behrendorff and he's absolutely a good player. But then again, that rules out Behrendorff and Udana as well, if that is a consideration, because you have a lot of left arm pacers anyway. So then it makes Matt Henry or a Billy Stanlake more of an option. And Billy Stanlake hasn't had such a good effect in the IPL. So maybe it was more pointed towards Matt Henry to replace him. A New Zealander to come on. I don't think, Nathan, you would mind that at all. Varun says Krunal, Sundar, Shardul, Bhuvi, Siraj, Prasid should be India's 6 bowling options tomorrow. Sundar replaces Hardik and Siraj replaces Kuldeep is what he says. Truth is we doing with Dhawan what we did with MSD. We shouldn't be thinking about doing right by the person, but worrying about doing it right by the team. Make a tough call like Morgan. I totally agree with you here, Amit. In a way that just on the emotion of the call, that don't take Shikhar Dhawan as someone who's done really well in the past for you. So did MSD. I guess MSD towards the fag end of his career probably didn't give the same output, to be fair. And we're seeing a similar dip with Shikhar Dhawan. Probably do it what is right with the team. We want Rishabh Pant in the right time. Probably bring someone in the right time as well. My personal opinion would be KL Rahul, but then again, can't put forward too many agendas at the same time either. Leaving out Plunkett if he's not in the plans for 2023 is what Amit says. I think he's talking about the English lineup, but we're talking about Rajasthan Royals, and I guess a Liam Plunkett kind of player for India as well. Rohit Dhawan, Virat, KL, Pant, Hardik, Thakur, Bhuvi, Kuldeep, Nattu is what Shashank has gone within his lineup. Very interesting. I guess he's rested Prasid Krishna for Natarajan, that being the only change in the lineup. I guess I see another one there. Do I? I mean, there's one player missing in the lineup, so I guess one player is left to us. He doesn't consider Krunal as a regular spinner either, which I totally agree. I don't think Krunal is a ODI spinner as of yet. Go with Shardul, Siraj / Nattu, Prasid, Bhuvi, and Chehel or Cheher. Rahul Chahar for India captain, man. That's been our agenda for quite a while now, and I think we're going to stick by it. But apart from that, Rahul Chahar, I can totally agree again. Said I feel on similar lines that Rahul Chahar needs to prove himself as an ODI spinner a little bit more. I think he's more better suited for T20s as it stands, and it would be interesting to see how that dynamic develops. Drop Hardik and Kuldeep ASAP is what he says. Yuvraj is a much better spinner in ODIs and Krunal is right now. I mean, Yuvraj was legendary. I mean, let's not even go there.
I think we are undermining Hardik's batting ability.
We are genuinely undermining.
He can very well play as a number 6 also, and he offers.
He's shown that in Australia. I mean,
he offers no what not many can offer at a number six role. I know that we have Rishabh Pant. I think he will be very comfortable in that position.
Fair
But
enough.
ideally Hardik should be bowling. So yeah, as I said, not too many agendas at once. So
England fans like Hardik to be dropped.
England fans definitely would. Amit is here giving me a little bit of pinch of my own medicine, I guess. Prathamesh missed three of my comments when it flashed on the screen. Brahim Kushagra Anurag posting, do take this comment with a pinch of salt. I take it with a lot of salt, man. I mean, yeah, I guess I did miss a couple of comments here, but I guess we did talk about it as well. We did talk about the things that were mentioned, but sorry if that offended you in a way, Amit. But I think it was just something that really just went through. He was talking about Krunal Pandya, I guess, and he agrees with Varun upon the four quicks theory. I guess this is the one that I missed as well. I think Sai Gautam adds says India need a good new ball bowler as Prasidh Krishna is better as the ball gets older rather than in the first 10. I guess we have
He's
so
missing.
many new ball bowlers not playing.
You're missing the
I mean,
comments because they agree with me.
no
yeah,
way, Nate. Obviously not. I guess I've covered all the comments as it stands. I mean, this is about Shikhar Dhawan, and then I think it's not never going to happen. I think this is the one he's talking about. It's never going to happen. Dhawan and KL will play as long as he's the captain. Also, he would play Hardik as a batsman, though he should be replacing him if he's not bowling. Hardik's batting again, I feel is underestimated. Though I can understand your point on Shikhar Dhawan. I guess that's something which Amit, I think a lot of people are going to take into consideration because in ODIs the game has changed not just from runs now, it's runs with strike rate, and I guess that combination that usually holds good in T20 is now starting to move itself into ODIs, mainly because of the kind of pitches and the number of runs that are being scored these days. So I guess that's the thing. India is too emotional in selections. Facts. I think Varun. Yeah. I mean, you say the right things there. India is a bit emotional in selections. It's because of the millions of opinions that otherwise flash on your Twitters and your Instagrams and your Facebooks. So I guess that also has a very subpar role in that as well. But yeah, I think Indian. I think with Virat, that one thing that I've genuinely admired that he backs his players. I think sometimes you need it, sometimes you overdo it. But maybe with Virat, I like this quality that he backs his players, and I guess you've seen with someone like
see,
Rohit Sharma over
whatever
the years.
whatever be the quality in question, but we have been a bit emotional with KL, haven't we? And
We
hasn't
have.
that paid off?
It has genuinely paid off. I mean, as it stands, I think after the 2019 World Cup, he's been our best batsman. There is absolutely no doubt in that. In the ODI format or even in the T20 format, I guess KL Rahul has been our best bet in that sense. Rajasthan Royals has Unadkar, Akash Singh, Kuldeep Yadav, Fizz, and Chetan Sakaria as the five left-arm bowlers currently
Fizz.
interesting this one.
Fizz was the
Mustafiz
guy I had earlier. That's the guy I had in my head earlier about he's just gonna. He's not the same bowler of 5 years ago.
he isn't.
So
I think his
that's the
last good
sort of
year
thing.
His last good year was for the Mumbai Indians when he won the trophy with them, and I guess after that, Mustafizur has never been the same bowler. I think after his injury recovery that he was, before he actually got it. Not undermining, buddy. We need six bowlers against this lineup of English batsmen. I think I guess you're right. We do need six bowlers. We need six bowlers who can pick wickets and change the game. But also at the same time, we need seven batters who can help us reach 350. And that is increasingly important.
The
So Varun, it's
solution
an
to that is
interesting
simple:
dynamic.
make Hardik bowl. Make Hardik
Exactly.
bowl. He has had 2 matches of rest right now. The solution
Yeah.
is not throwing Hardik out of the team. Make him bowl. His absolute the reaction that he gave to Kohli's answer on why he wasn't bowling Hardik explained it well. He wants to bowl. ठीक है 10 ओवर मत कराओ 5 ओवर तो कर ही सकता है. He in the 5 T20s he bowled 4 overs every game. So I don't know. It's not
He can at
that
least bowl four,
drastic a
right?
shift of workload, yeah.
Yeah. He can at least bowl four, I guess. I mean, if you're not expecting more, let him bowl four. He takes 2 overs out of Krunal and maybe 2 overs out of another spinner or another pacer. So I think in that sense it makes perfect sense to actually allow Hardik to bowl. You can only protect so much, right? You mean he goes in the IPL, he might get injured there as well. Flight में बैठे बैठे staircase पे कुछ लग गया गिर गया, he gets injured there as well. How much are you going to protect Hardik Pandya? I mean, you can only do so much. He can get injured in the gym. I mean, so the amount of weights that these players lift these days, he can get injured there. So I mean, rather than injuring him in a yo-yo test, you would rather injure him while he's bowling. I mean, I just don't understand certain things sometimes, and I guess Hardik not bowling is one of the dilemmas that I can't figure out as it stands. Varun adds
Kohli's
MSD.
sorry, I was going to say Kohli needs to stick his RCB hat on. And so what if he gets injured? It's Mumbai's problem, not his.
To be fair, Mumbai don't have a problem. I mean, there are too many options. But MSD has taken tough calls when he became captain. Time for Virat to add an opener will just smash it consistently. Shaw slash Padikkal are good shoutouts if they want KL in the middle order in the long term.
Yeah.
I guess MSD was MSD for a reason, wasn't he? That he had this ability to make tough calls. I guess there was a time when the selectors backed him as well. You could see that there was a transitional phase in Indian cricket when MSD became captain after the 2007 World Cup debacle as well. So I guess they were all, and also the fact that he won the 2007 T20 World Cup without any expectation helped his case to actually get these tough decisions over the line. With Virat, I guess Virat still being Virat, he could still make those decisions. But one thing, as I said about Virat, I absolutely love and adore is that he backs his players who do well. I think he gives them a genuine chance. It's more about the attitude as well. So I guess I would rather, I would love to see if Prithvi Shaw makes it in the team, or Devdutt Padikkal does, or KL Rahul plays as an opener, or Shikhar Dhawan does well as an opener. Regardless, I guess we need to have a proper game plan. Varun, is what I feel. I think we are shifting too much from our game plans right now, and I guess that's really a sad state of affairs it stands. We need a sixth bowling option. Drop a batsman for playing Hardik as a pure batsman, or drop Hardik for an all-rounder, is what he's saying. So, if you're also going to play Hardik as a batter, who will you drop between Rohit, Dhawan, Kohli, KL, and Pant? We don't drop anyone. Hardik plays at six. I guess that's what we have been talking about. And if Hardik does play at six, I guess he should bowl. Amit, in my opinion, Hardik should bowl. That's the only solution to this problem. I don't think there is any other solution. You can't play an extra batter because you lose a bowler. You can't play an extra bowler because you essentially lose 35-40 runs in 20 deliveries. So I guess India can't afford to lose both of them, and that is why Hardik Pandya is so important. Uh, Uzumaki joins us. Welcome, man. Mustafizur was a deadly bowler before injury, a deadly Yorker to Russell, I remember. Yes, I think he was absolutely fantastic before injury. Hardik bowling five bowlers will be greater getting Sundar or anyone, honestly. Yes, I mean, Hardik has to bowl 5 overs. That would be much better than getting anyone else to replace him. Take your pick is, I guess, I have taken my pick at least. Dhawan should be back
Sorry,
in the
just to
ODI.
actually. Sorry, what
Yeah.
he's saying is, Amit says if you go six bowlers, and you play Hardik, then he's going to have to replace one of the top five. That's what his point was.
Yeah, I guess that is what he's talking about as well. He also had the guts. I mean, MSD had the guts to say we can play only of two of Sehwag, Sachin, and Gambhir. Sehwag did make it back. He was in the 2011 World Cup team as well. So I guess MSD, whatever call he did took, he had the ability to go back to that, bring Sehwag back, and we all know how important these three players were in that very order in the World Cup win for 2011 for India. Coming to the predictions, guys, I will come first to you, Nathan. Nathan, what is your predicted lineup for the third ODI tomorrow?
So it'll be Roy, Bairstow, Stokes, Milan, Butler, Livingston, Moeen, Sam Curran, Mark Wood, Adil Rashid, top play. And for some strange reason, I've got a gut feeling Kohli's going to win the toss tomorrow.
I think Kohli has the same gut feeling as well every time he walks out. But I guess unfortunately,
I'm going to win it at one point.
No, never. Nah.
Stop it.
If he
Nathan.
wins
Not
the
even
toss,
hoping for that. Not even hoping
if he wins
for
the
that.
toss, do you think he'll bowl?
Yeah.
If he wins the toss, I think he will bat. I
still
still
think you'll
feel
bat
India
first?
bats. Yeah.
I think what will happen tomorrow will be he wins the toss, so he's saying you're still batting. You'll get 340, and it will come down to the wire, and Livingston will hit a six to win the game. But with top play at the other end.
Sid, what
That,
about you? What are the changes that you're expecting for India?
I think with England it's bang on. I think Markwood replaces Tom Curran because there's no way Topley goes out, and I think Sam Curran
Yeah.
still. I think Sam Curran was also excellent in the initial overs.
Yeah, in the opening phase, yes.
Yeah. So that's for England, and for India. Okay. Dhawan, Rohit, uh, Dhawan, Rohit, Kohli, KL, Pant, Hardik. I think Sundar will be seven.
Yeah.
Then Siraj. Uh, I think. Oh my
I
God! I
think
think Chahal
Siraj
will play.
Bhuvi. Yeah,
Chahal,
Siraj Bhuvi
yeah.
Chahal.
Siraj, Bhuvi, Chahal, and Prasidh Krishna will captain
Krishna.
the game.
I guess I won't make any changes from that either with what you said. Hardik has to bowl. If Hardik's not bowling, he's still a good enough batsman, but then again, his effectivity in the team is reduced, which isn't a fair call in any way. And I guess I can understand the people's emotion. If Hardik is not going to bowl, you might either play Surya Kumar Yadav, which would still make a little bit of sense because Surya still has the kind of ability that Hardik has. Probably not in the same brutal way, but Surya has a different range of shots that he could still get a lot of runs on. So I think in that case it would make sense. But if Hardik is playing, I hope he bowls because Hardik's bowling is a little underrated in that sense. And if he does bowl well, it's obviously a good chance for India because you get another bowler to bowl. Six bowlers, I guess it's a huge positive for India if six bowlers bowl. Krunal gets dropped, and I think so does Kuldeep. Unfortunately, we'll probably see Washington Sundar and Yuzvendra Chahal, very rightly so. Uh, this is what Amit has to add. Yes, because Krunal and Hardik are playing as all rounders. I think if they're playing as all rounders, they have to bowl. And if you're playing Hardik as a batsman, I think you need to stick to it. I think India stuck to Hardik Pandya as a pure batsman in Australia. He gave results. He gave results from the very, very difficult situations in two games. I think one with Shikhar Dhawan in the first ODI when he almost pulled off a run chase. And then I think in the third ODI with him and Jadeja, definitely, I wouldn't want Hardik at 19 for 3 because if he walks in at 19 for 3 or if anybody else does, it's going to be a very curious situation. But then you can't always plan for a 19 for 3 either. So I guess Amit on this one, I'm totally with you. I don't think he bats out. He should be walking out at 19 for 3 at all. But then in that case, he's not batting at number 5 anyway. He's going to play at number 6 or number 7. So I think Rishabh Pant or KL Rahul bats or walks on at 13 for 3. 21 for 4, then I guess anyway the match is done and dusted, and then I mean Hardik can just come in and play the way he wants. To have a sixth option, Hardik as a batter needs to bat in the top five. Okay, I think then if Hardik bats in the top five, I think the argument that was previously made by you would be a concern then that you have to then drop KL and or maybe Rishabh Pant, and that does not happen. So it's curious. It's curious how India deal with Hardik Pandya. I think the entire discussion is about Hardik Pandya having to bowl. I think he should bowl as well. Varun adds Kohli winning the toss is like expecting a century, the 71st century rather. Rohit, Sky, Virat, Rahul, Pant, Hardik, Sundar, Shardul, Bhuvi, Siraj, Prasidh. Hardik also bowls. Bhuvi and Siraj with the new ball. Prasidh and Shardul in the middle and depth. So basically, what he has done is he's essentially removed Kuldeep. He's removed Shikhar Dhawan as well, and he's removed I guess I think Krunal Pandya as well, and I think I like this look of the bowling lineup as well.
I think for the longest time we haven't been grooming any player to bowl in the initial overs, because I think our long-term trust for that has been with Bhumi and Shami. But we can't rely on them being there always, knowing the recent past, and that has ended in us suffering, be it in Australia or in England right now, or with England right now. Yeah, I think Siraj can be groomed for that new ball. He, I feel, is a better option than Natarajan over there. So I would love to see Siraj go have a go tomorrow. That's the only reason why. And to add more spice to that, with the prediction that both Roy and Bairstow get out in the first 10 overs. Let's go.
That's incredibly bold. Varun also adds Sky. Taking Sky would be a bold and simple message. Smash them all from ball one. I mean, Surya Kumar opening the batting would be really good to see. But then again, do you realistically see that happening? I don't. I hope Varun, if that is to happen, then KL bats in the opening rather than Surya Kumar. I guess Surya Kumar is better suited as a middle order batsman, and I hope we don't do the same mistake with Surya Kumar that we did with KL Rahul. Right, bat him in multiple positions. That's basically redoing the same mistakes, after 5 years. So that would be really, really harsh on Surya Kumar as well. Having said that, thank you to both Siddharth and Nathan for joining us. We unsuccessfully wrapped this up under an hour, but fair enough. I guess there were a lot of talking points as well. Nathan,
Nathan
hopefully,
says open with Hardik. By the way, that's
yeah,
exciting.
that is exciting. But opening
Well,
with
if it
Hardik,
pays off,
Yeah.
if it pays
then
off,
we might be worried.
if it pays off, it's an 80 ball, 160, 170. If it pays off, I mean that's how good Hardik Pandya can be if he really pays off. But yes, Nathan, I think that we could take it into consideration. Also, Varun adds, I don't think to Sky middle order bhi chalega could offer more than Dhawan. Yes, I guess in the style of cricket that's being played right now, I totally agree. I think Surya Kumar Yadav could have a better impact on the team than Shikhar Dhawan. And just on this note, I would like to thank Siddharth and Nathan again. Pant can open is also what Varun says. That would be interesting too. Do join us tomorrow for the mid innings live, which will be there. Which will be there obviously on YouTube and Facebook. This will be in between the innings, considering that England actually bowl on time. That is what we have been hoping for all of this while. England finish their overs on time so that we get 40 minutes instead of the 30 that we usually get, thanks to Owen Morgan or Josh Butler. But yeah, regardless, I think we just hope that whatever happens tomorrow, it's a very good result. The mid innings live will be there on Facebook and YouTube. Also, the same with the post match live. We'll try to do an Instagram live right before the toss, or maybe right after the toss as well. Do stay tuned to the Sports Doyen, and we will see you soon.